Hello and welcome, Bitmonger family. J-Monger here. And you guys are probably looking at the markets and saying, what the hell, Jay, what up? You know, what happened to the Bitcoin? Let me show you what's going on, guys. No fear at all. Bitcoin is still doing very well. This is what happened. So over the weekend, when Bitcoin pumps, traditional markets are closed, right? So the CME, that's the futures market, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, it's closed over the weekends. And what can happen is, since the traders aren't open, what we get is what's called the CME gap. So Bitcoin raised up over the weekend, and we get this type of gap filling. See, this is where it closed on Friday in Chicago. And then over the weekend, the price went up. So what tends to happen is when we get a CME gap for efficiency in the markets, what happens, or you might call it manipulation, is it comes down to fill these gaps. And that's exactly what happened. The gap was like right around 118K, and it came down and it filled the gap. So no fear, guys, no fears. Don't be fearful. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. As I was looking at that before, we can see here we're looking at the 1 hourly chart. It did come down and it touched this long-term trend line that I showed you yesterday. Here from November 2022, it's been on this uptrend, and it bounced off that. So let's zoom in a little bit more and let's go back to the hourly. And we can see it's right now, if we zoom out, we can see that this is a common point right here. See that? Right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. Okay, so this is turning into new resistance. And we can see it's about to touch up right here. And I think it's going to roll over. And when that rolls back over, I suspect the altcoins to continue on their move upwards, right? I did note the other day about that trade that I took on Tau. And that one got executed and I quickly got liquidated, but I jumped right back into it because I like what I'm seeing, guys, on that one. Let's take a look at Tau real quick. And we can see these were the old levels that I was working with, and I was buying it right when it dipped under 360 a little bit. Remember, this coin is down about 55% from its all-time highs. And its all-time highs were only less than a year ago, if I remember correctly. It's fairly recent, not that long back. So I do think this thing can absolutely rip. I jumped into this. I did get stopped out. I should have put my stop loss a little bit lower because, guys, you need to keep in mind that most traders are using the same sort of tools. So a lot of people will be putting their stop losses right under this point. And I need to remember that I need to give it some more room to breathe. And when you have a lot of people with the same sort of area for a stop loss, these manipulators, these big market makers, they can see that. And they are happy to come down and push the price down to liquidate you. So in the future, what I'll do is I will add a little bit more risk and set my stop loss a little bit lower in order not to get kicked out of that trade. But it's not a big deal. Luckily, I was awake while it was going on, so I got stopped out. I saw that it was dropping. I was able to get a position, and now I'm up and in a good position. And I do think it will be, generally, I do believe that it will be going back up towards this yellow line. Let's look at that increase of what we're going to get. I got in at 359 roughly, so we'll start it there. And if it gets to the profit up to our yellow line again, we're looking at a 6.883, call it 7%. With 5x, I'm looking at a 35% profit, which is going to be a nice payday. I expect to make another couple $1,000s within the next week, guys. Kaboom. Gotta love it. Making money from my sofa. Doesn't get any better than this, guys. Let's take a look at some other coins too. Oh, yesterday I talked about Aero, and I had done a video before on it, and I was talking about it. If you guys got into that trade, you guys are up massively. And if you wanted to add to your position, even though it's gone up massively, it's slightly risky, but I do think it's going to be pumping back up. So we can see, drawing it from this bottom point here, this is the hourly chart. We can see it dip down here, and it popped right back up from there. So you trade the hourly chart, you're usually looking at like the next day or two, okay? Maybe a week at most. So you can see it dip down here, and then it rallied up. So I drew the fib extension tool here from this bottom and drew it up to the top, this top here. I could actually draw a little higher, but I drew it from this top here, and we can see that it got right down to the 618, the golden pocket. And so right around $1.10 would be a good area to be dipping your toes in. Let's draw this up a little bit higher, because it did get up to that point right there. It actually went under the 618, and it's attempting to go down to the 0.786, which would be right around $1.07. I think anywhere between $1.10 and $1.07 is a good entry point. So if you don't have exposure to this one, I do expect it to have a nice bounce coming back into it, because this coin is associated with Coinbase, and there's a lot of hype around that, and it's got a lot of attention. And when in trading, you do need to trade the attention, unless you are looking at something, the data, and you're seeing a really good coin near a bottom piece, and you're willing to hold it and wait for it to come back around, which in many cases I do that, just because that's how I usually win really big, is when I buy things that are not getting the attention, but I know they're good projects, and I know that they're going to get another bid sometime in the market. And when that does happen, those things tend to print really, really well. All right. Ondo, I like Ondo too. Ondo is a good RWA play. So you can see this one had a wicked move up all the way down from here on. This is the June 22nd. It has just had a huge move. I expect that it could come down to this level here, like around 95, 96. That might be a good area to be getting into Ondo at. Next level down is at 89. I would be surprised if it gets down there, because the markets are moving up and it's looking solid. I added to my bag here at 98 cents, and because I do think if Ethereum continues to climb, which I suspect it will, I mean, it barely moved down. Look at that. It barely moved at all. It looks like it's in some sort of consolidation form right now. I suspect this one to continue to go up, and when that does happen, these better altcoins will continue to go up with it. So there you have it, guys. Hope you're all doing well, and monger on.